One day, while out and about, I decided to take a lot of photos of some interesting urban architecture and scenery for possible use, not sure, but like possible use in some of my next animated projects coming up, one in particular, which I still haven't started work on yet. The idea was that I would take photos of various things in scenery or the scenery itself, like anything, of buildings, bridges or whatever, and try to use it as a guide for drawing actual scenery for my animated cartoons on top. It doesn't mean necessarily that I would trace everything to every detail, but I might, trace certain parts of it and use it as a guide, such as this bridge here. If I wanted to have some characters walking up a staircase or something like that, or a certain angle, it might even be like this area here. It could be, I could change that into a corridor or whatever. But the technique is you would take an image into an art program where you draw. Okay, so you would draw on a layer above that. You would make the image very faint, like not very visible, and then you would draw on top, like tracing paper, that you just trace on top, and you would use it as a guide. You may not even end up using the image at all. You won't ever see like the full image. You wouldn't see the full image in the actual animation. It would just be my drawings. But it's a good, quick little way of giving yourself some guides for drawing specific things, or guides towards practicing drawing certain things from different angles. Like I said, it's not only a case of tracing, it's a case of manipulating things too. So drawing on top of this, I may change it totally. I may not keep it exactly as what it is. Like there's buildings in the background, I might not have them. It might be a forest, for example, or this might not be a road. I'll just change things as I feel necessary, or I would keep them as they are and just draw bridges or buildings as they are, using various parts of the scenery too. Not to mention, I would be able to zoom in, flip the images, do all kinds of things to make it work. And a lot of artists have actually done this. It's a technique that has been done in the past. It's been used in comics and in animation for backgrounds especially. Also, like for example, some of these cool angles I was trying to get here, like these staircases. I was thinking in my mind of, what I would be seeing on the screen. So if there's a staircase, this woman got in the way here, as you can see with the umbrella, and another one at the top. But I don't have to draw those in. Again, looking down here, you see. So I would draw characters in and do different kinds of designs. It's not to say like it's just a case of being lazy and cheating. Although it is a quick, useful tip that would, a quick method that would help in part of the production. And I might not use this on every single scene, like this kind of method. But the idea was to just take as many photos as possible while out. If you are getting anything like stock, photos for yourself, if you're out and about taking photos of sets, basically is what we're doing. Either for live action or animated projects, it's a good thing to look in the real world and put yourself as though you are in that world, even though it's not going to be the exact same world as your movie production necessarily, unless it is and you're really making a live action scene per se. But to take images and make video clips too. You can also get sound effects and things like that, recording sounds on the go, audio recordings, or writing them down of what you are actually thinking to your notes. That's also good. Sketches, if you want to do drawings or paintings while you're out, that's another thing you can do. Think about the kind of atmosphere, the kind of music or whatever it might be that's in the scene, what kind of scene it is. Characters standing on a bridge here, maybe talking, it might be just a dialogue scene, it might be a wide sort of angled action sort of scene, fight scene or something. But this is definitely a good bit of research, a good bit of work on the go you can do. So even if you're just anywhere and you see some scenery like this, you can take some photos, and or some video footage and get some ideas going. Here I took a lot of images, a lot of photos with my phone camera, and I think they came out very clearly. Also, I think it's very good and very important to get more. So you can see a lot of the photos are very similar, and I took so many photos on this bridge and around this bridge area of certain places. But basically that was my goal, just to take as much as possible, because I knew that I'd be able to use various things there. Even like this bus, I took a photo of that bus, and I got the idea to take photos of that road there with the cars, as you can see, and buses. I thought this might come in handy if I wanted to have a quick scene with the road with some vehicles. I could trace on top of that, So I got a lot of ideas while I was out and about. You get ideas by looking around, and also you can take your ideas and picture certain things with your imagination in the real world too. It's like creating art and film in your mind as you're on the go. So this was never meant to be seen. I wasn't going to show you guys this. It's just like behind the scenes stuff, and I weren't even sure that I would actually use them. But I had a moment there. I had my phone ready with a camera. I was pressing the button, just taking photos. I thought I'd just get as much as possible, It's actually very, very good. Another thing you can do is, obviously, apart from taking photos of like the real world like this, you can take photos of objects in your house, such as boxes or items stacked in a certain way, like tables, chairs, anything, a cup on a table. It could be someone sitting on a sofa, literally by a window, or some shelves or cupboards, anything, and you can manipulate it and make it look like something else by drawing on top of it. And then what we do is the same as all of these images. You would not use the actual images. You would only use the image what you've traced on top of it, which you've manipulated to be whatever it's going to be. You may use parts of different images and move them around to even make a different image, completely different from what you're actually looking at. This is very good practice for drawing in general too. But not only that, I remind you that you've got to be careful with perspective. Another important thing here is you've got to be careful with different lenses on certain cameras, but the basic thing is you can usually get some good practice with photos like this. I use my phone, so getting images from like getting photos or getting images like screenshots from video footage if it's nice and clear, like still shots without too much blurry motion. The good thing is you can get like the guidelines of various perspectives, so it's good for perspective sketching practice, but it's also good for getting some actual perspective that you want to have. I was doing that as well, partly when I was filming mostly just the scenery itself and getting these images. I was actually picturing in my mind, I was thinking of the actual perspective. Like here, for example, there's a line of rubbish bins that was there, and a gate we just saw. Because I was picturing just anything that could have been a big room or a road with something at the end, or a door. And I was thinking, okay, that's got some good straight lines there. I can use those for perspective and guidance, and I could draw some characters in. You do a rough basic scribble, like sketch on top first, and then work out what you're going to do, And there's many ways of working this kind of stuff. I think it's a really clever way of doing things. You might have an outside scene which you then turn into an indoor scene. You may have an indoor scene that you turn into an outdoor scene. Things that might look big or small on the screen might not be those sizes in your image when you change it. That tree there might not actually be a tree. I can change anything here, You may like a scene, a building, but you might want to change part of it. You might see a scene where it's a sunny day, but it doesn't have to be that. It could be a nighttime scene or whatever when you do your final picture. But looking at different kinds of buildings, stairways, as you can see, interesting architectural scenery here. I like these kind of urban, I don't know, a little bit on the side of, I don't know, brutalesque kind of stuff. Brutalesque, I don't know, not exactly, but do you know what I mean? I like these big walkways and areas and bridges and stairways and corridors and different kind of buildings, these, you know, gritty concrete stone areas. I mean, these alleys and these underpasses, overpasses, these little areas where you get like shopping areas. In fact, in that place, there's some very, very interesting other areas that I really wish I could have got on. I would like to have got on camera. I was even thinking of going there on that day, but I was thinking about it, but I didn't, you know. But it's, as I say, it's a very, very fascinating thing to do when you're out and about, because you're drawing with your mind. You practice. I'm always doing that anyway when I'm thinking about things, drawing in my mind and thinking about the stories and stuff. And when I see scenery like this, when I'm out and about, and I think, you know, if I can take an image like this or a video, which I rarely do, I don't usually do it, but like here, for example, it's so cool. I see things that some people wouldn't see. I see things that everybody's got a different vision, like different creators, as I say. But it's how you look at it. It's your imagination. In my mind, I'm always sketching and drawing. Anyway, so it's like I'm filmmaking all the time. You know, a lot of people, they don't do that. A lot of people, their projects are, as they call it, their thing on the side. It's a side project, hobby. For me, it's a passion. It's a life, way of life. So this was just a boring, usual day. I was probably kind of tired as such. You know, it was another work day. You know, it was really, really a miserable day for me, because that just takes up so much of my time. Well, I'd rather be drawing. I wish I could live from, you know, my movie making and my animation and stuff. But you know, that's what I did. I just got this moment. And I thought, yeah, why? You know, I usually would just sit around. Like in the past, I've also like used empty spaces to practice my exercise. So I'm doing that anyway. Getting walks. I'll sit down and have a rest in the fresh air. It's good to get out. I'll go for a bit of a walk too. You know, I might have a little snack, eat or drink, like lunch outside. If I can't get back, I'll try to, you know, I might walk from one place, sit there for a bit, walk to another place and sit there. And my mind's always thinking, you know, I'm always imaginative. And when I get to a place like this, you know, in some open, like quiet places, like a park or an urban sort of place, it depends, I'll be doing some like more stretching and my basic fitness, you know. But when I see locations like this, I think sometimes things stand out and I want to like maybe get some images, you know. I don't usually do it, but I did it that day. It could help me for my filmmaking ideas, and or actually using them to draw on top of, to help me in some areas of my animation production. But as I say, I like to just draw freely. I admire all kinds of art, especially people that can draw, you know, not just AI, but draw from their minds, you know, really from their minds, and just create whatever it is, natural scenes, urban scenery, characters, things, whatever, you know. I really admire the art of drawing and painting, and I've always loved it. And yeah, so we're doing a lot more drawing videos and animation on the way anyway. You don't have to use this method, but you don't have to look at this as if it's just cheating and useless. It's quite a useful method. Okay, thanks for watching. I'm just happy I could share that with you. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you again very soon. Take care.